What do you think is cheaper for building a foundation? This here or this? Want to find out? Stick with me until the end of this video, and I'll show you just how cost-effective it is to build a foundation this way. So, here we are with another video from the construction site of the house we're building here in the Alphaville condominium in Recife. And take a look at the stage we're at now. We just finished all the footings. We poured the concrete for all the pillars that are buried in the ground, the entire foundation. We've built up a layer of brickwork, double-layered bricks, and on top of the bricks, we've laid the U-blocks. This one right here. These are custom blocks that we manufacture in our own factory. These blocks have the same thickness as the blocks we'll be using to build the walls here. So the foundation is already built up in alignment with the walls that will form the structure. And today, we've already poured some of the beams. We've started pouring the concrete for them. Everything indicates that tomorrow, we'll finish this entire foundation. Now I'm going to quickly show you what the site looks like. It's really wet, it rained a lot this week, so it's very slippery. I'm going to walk carefully and see what I can show you, and after that, we're going to talk about, the numbers, the costs, so you can understand just how efficient it is to build a foundation this way. Let's take a look at the site. Come with me. Look at all this mud. Wow. You have to be really careful walking here. One wrong step and you'll take a tumble. And if I fall with this camera, I'll lose the camera and end up on America's Funniest Home Videos. Here we have a beam. This beam was just poured, the concrete was just finished. All the pillars, see. The rebar starters for the pillars that will go up inside the walls are already in position. Over there in the middle, we haven't poured the concrete because there are going to be some circular pillars. The pillars that you've probably already seen, where we embed them inside the blocks. So I asked the crew to hold off on pouring that section until tomorrow, because the pillars will be arriving shortly. Tomorrow, we'll set the pillars in place and we'll be able to finish all these foundation beams. Look how nice. It's all poured already. This part wasn't poured because it's also going to have circular pillars. So, we'll set the pillars and pour the concrete tomorrow. Over here, it's all poured already. Here too, this part was only poured halfway. There's probably a circular pillar in that section, so we should be able to finish that tomorrow. Look how much backfill this is going to need. This front section here is really deep, see? Look at this front section, the highest one. It's going to take a lot of backfill here. But in the back, we're going to cut it down. See how high it is? The ground level is much higher than the house's floor. This height right here is where the house's floor will be. So, we're going to bring in a machine, cut it, and excavate all that excess material, and we'll use it to backfill all of these sections here. We might still have to remove some material. This front beam hasn't been poured because coming off of it, there's a small cantilevered slab, about 15 centimeters, I think, 14 centimeters. So here, we still need to install the rebar that will support that slab. Since the rebar hasn't arrived yet, it's on its way. It should be here any minute. I'm actually waiting for the truck right now. I asked the crew not to pour this front part today. Tomorrow, we'll install the rebar, pour the concrete, and leave all the starters in place so we can move on with the slab that will be here at the front of the house. This will be the slab that will be the entrance. There will be a staircase, and from that staircase, you'll step onto the slab to enter the house. All of this here is the house's terrace. This house is going to look great. Some pillars were poured today. See over there. That formwork. I'll move my hand so it doesn't blur. That formwork way in the back, see, way back there. That pillar was poured today. These ones here too, see, these lower ones were poured today. And as soon as the pillar pouring was done, we already started pouring the beams. It's all very fast, a very dynamic process. Let me step in here so we can see inside the house. There's a lot of mud here, see. Gotta be careful not to take a tumble. Here will be the bathrooms, see. You can see the structure is much more reinforced. The water tanks will be on top. So, besides these pillars, see, there's a much bigger pillar over there. Bigger pillars than this one. There will be some round pillars here, circular ones too, embedded in the blocks, to support the slab where the water tank will go. And back there, there's still more foundation to do. Since the terrain is very sloped, we preferred to do the foundation in 2 stages. You can see the foundation continues, see. So, when we finish pouring all these beams here, see, the backhoe will come, it will dig here, see the difference in level. The floor level, the backfill level, see. So it will dig out all this backfill. And this material that comes out of here will be used to backfill. This whole lower part here, see. Part of the material will be taken away by truck, part will stay here to backfill the house floor. And then when we have this floor leveled, then we'll continue with the whole foundation. It will continue here, it will continue there, it will continue here, and we'll finish some more footings, some pillars, and some U-blocks here, which will be the back part of the house. This project is going to turn out great. So now, let's talk about the main part of this video, cost. How much do you think we can save by working this way? Let me get under the line here. Wimp. Might as well, while I'm still young enough to do this. Look, all of these U-blocks here. This entire house foundation was laid in just one day of work. Meaning, the crew arrived in the morning. There wasn't a single U-block. By the end of the day, all the U-blocks were in position. See? A lot of U-blocks. That's many meters of foundation that was done in one day. So I spent 1 day's wages for 2 bricklayers and 2 helpers. 2 bricklayers and 2 helpers, 2 pairs, laying U-blocks, finished all of this in 1 day. Now I ask you, how long do you think it would take them to do this if we were to work with wood? Take a guess. I don't know if you have experience with construction, but from what I see out there, you know, it's been a long time since I've built with wood. You can see I use wood in exceptional spots, right? Of course, for the embedded pillars, it's harder for me to place a U-block. I could even place a U-block, but it's faster for me to use wood. But to make this entire length of beam here out of wood, man, that's a ton of work. Not to mention, money, cost. Because we know that wood is very, very expensive. A 30 centimeter board. We bought a 30 centimeter board this week. It was 3 meters long, a pine board. The simplest kind there is. You don't get much use out of it. It gets ruined quickly, for 50 reais. And I'm sure that in many parts of Brazil it's much more expensive than that. Now imagine buying 2 boards, right, one for the inside and one for the outside. Each beam like this, would take 2 boards, right, one inside and one outside, for this entire perimeter, this entire length. How much would we spend? And what's worse, how many days would the workers spend cutting the wood, nailing it in place, assembling it, bracing it, preparing all of that, so that it can begin to be filled with concrete? Imagine, I could easily beat that same team for a week straight. I think even more than that. It's been a while since we've worked with wood, but a very realistic time frame is about 5 or 6 working days to finish all these wooden forms here. And with the gutters, we managed to do it in just 1 day. See how much labor we save by working this way. And if you factor in the cost of the wood, since wood is very expensive, it becomes much more expensive. You can build this type of structure with wood compared to channel blocks. Here, the only cost we have is for the channel block, which is a very inexpensive block to buy. This is the large block. I'll show you the small one. I have the small one here. We have blocks here in our factory. We have this block here. We have this block here that is 20 centimeters long, and we also have the same channel block that is 50 centimeters long, which is 2.5 times the size of this one. So the channel is 50 centimeters long. That's the majority that's here, with a few additional elements. We used the 20 millimeters one, because I brought both 20 millimeters and 50 millimeters pieces, because when you get close to a pillar, sometimes you need a small piece for a finishing touch. So that you don't have to put in a block, take a 50 block and cut it. We have a 20 block to make these additions. So I brought both models. Most of this foundation was made with 50 millimeters blocks, and these blocks cost 8 Brazilian reals here at our factory today. And it covers 50 centimeters of foundation beam on both sides of the form. If you take that amount, 8 Brazilian reals, 2 sides of the mold. 50 centimeters of foundation. Let's go. I said that a 30 centimeter board costs 50 Brazilian reals, didn't I? So, a 30 centimeter board for 50 Brazilian reals covers a 3 meter span on one side only. To do both sides, it's 50 for one side, plus 50 for the other, totaling 100 Brazilian reals. With 100 Brazilian reals, I can make 3 meters. So, if I divide that by 3, each meter will cost me 33 Brazilian reals. Buying the 3 meter board for 50 Brazilian reals, I will spend 33.33 Brazilian reals per meter, using both sides. Did you understand? 2 sides of the shape. If I'm going to use a conduit like this, I'll be using 2 conduits per meter. The 50 centimeter channel costs 8 Brazilian reals. So, 8 times 2 equals 16 Brazilian reals. So, using channel blocks to make this beam here, I spend 16 Brazilian reals per meter. For a plank of wood, I spend 33 Brazilian reals. 16 Brazilian reals out of 33 Brazilian reals gives 48%, meaning I have a 52% saving on materials alone, working with these channels compared to wooden forms. When you factor in the labor, cutting discs, nails, mason's line, shoring, and it's all there, and then it comes, and then you have to open it up, put everything away, throw the wood away, it's a psychological problem to see your money going to waste. All of this is priceless. So, it's proven, mathematically proven, and it's much, much more economical to build foundations and structures embedded within the channel blocks. Beauty. If you enjoyed this information, don't forget to leave a like, because that really helps us with promoting our work. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be building, and many people need to know just how much they can save by working this way. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe right now. Don't put it off, because a lot of important information is coming up here, and you need to stay up to date on the new methods, the new construction processes. And this is the best place for you to do that. Alright, so make sure you're subscribed, and leave a like to help us out. And if you want to learn more about The process of building structures after the foundation. Check out this video right here. I'm sure you'll find it very interesting. My name is Tiago Mello, and I'll see you in the next video.